Yo, 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 Ram fans, welcome. It's 6:50 on Wednesday, March 26, 2025, and we are here to talk about the announcement today that Ali Farokhmanesh, previously associate head coach at Colorado State University, has been promoted into the head coaching job, replacing Niko Medved, who announced on Wednesday or Monday that he was headed to take over the head coach at the University of Minnesota. It is a great day to be a Ram fan. Thanks everybody for joining me. Everybody who's out there, here we go. Let's just have fun. Let's just celebrate. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get Ali on, but if I'd love to get, I wish I could. He's obviously busy. Taylor with Ali, absolutely. Ali, 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 Ali. Here we go. We're going live. Corey, I'm glad to have you join us from Butler, Pennsylvania, member of the Butler Posse. Mile High Minute was always the right move. Looking forward to seeing what Ali can do. Joey B just ran through his patio screen door. Joey does that a lot when he gets excited. He keeps the screen door guys in Windsor busy tracking down new doors for him. But here we go. This is exactly how a program like CSU continue to build on recent success. I'm gonna make a statement right up front. We got wind. Things started leaking out that there was a good chance Niko was leaving about a month ago. Things started rumbling, and then all of a sudden on the national media a couple of weeks ago, I saw something on Field of 68, and it was the Field of 68 crew: Jeff Goodman, Rob Doster, and they were with Jeff Grammer of the Albuquerque Journal and BJ Rains of Bronco Nation News, and they were talking Mountain West basketball, and they started talking about the over/under of new coaches in the Mountain West. BJ Rains brought it up, and of course everybody thought that there was a chance that Kevin Kruger would get fired at UNLV, but there was all of a sudden this sly look by Jeff Goodman where he knew something. And I have a feeling he knew about Niko, and this was 2 weeks ago, and he wasn't going to reveal it out of respect to Minnesota, to Colorado State. That's what a good journalist does. He doesn't leak things. If they find things, they wait till the time is right. They don't need to be the one getting the scoop. But that's here we go, Jared. I can vouch for Joey. He's a screen door guy. Money. Anyway, getting back, I knew something was up when I saw Goodman and a sly look on his face. It was the biggest shit-eating grin you've ever seen. And I had a feeling it was related to Niko, and then little things here and there. And it's all good because, as we know, Minnesota is Niko's dream job. He grew up there as a student assistant. He grew up in Minnesota, went to basketball games as a kid, season tickets. University of Minnesota was there when they went to a Final Four with Clem Haskins. He honestly believes, and I agree, I believe him, that he can take Minnesota to a Final Four. Niko's a great coach. But on his staff, he had a coach named Ali Farokhmanesh. And Ali has been here with Niko since day one, since he came to Fort Collins as a head coach. Ali started with Niko at Drake. Before that, he was with Tim Miles as a graduate assistant and on Tim's staff before he went to Drake. So he's been trained in very much this style that is a people person, players coach, but very, very smart and very, very good coach. And he has grown in his time at CSU. And he is very integrally involved in this team, not just from a recruiting perspective, but from a player development perspective and from a coaching perspective. And Ali was, quote, the only choice. Now, you can't just, when it's a public university in Colorado and you have a position that's open, you have to post it. But there was no doubt this was going to happen. I had indications, never directly told me, but from people in good places within the CSU administration that that they would make the right decision when it came to replacing Nico, even though Nico hadn't been announced. And in no uncertain terms, I was being told, "Don't worry, it's going to be Ali." Um, I talked with Ali's mom on Friday night in Seattle, and we talked about things. And I said, I hope it's a done deal." And she goes, "Well, I do too." And it obviously wasn't at that point. They hadn't talked to Ali, but it is wonderful to have their family here. Ali comes from a coaching family. His mom and dad uh, are Division I volleyball coaches. Ali's mom, Cindy Frederick, is a very, very well-known volleyball coach who coached in places like Iowa, Washington State, UNLV, won everywhere she went. And when she retired, she and her husband Farouk, they moved to Fort Collins to be near the grandkids. And so we have a family here that is settled and loves Fort Collins. Cindy and Farouk are very involved with the volleyball community in Northern Colorado, which is a very, very strong community. So they didn't want to leave. They wanted Ali to get the job. And, you know, if Nico had stayed for 5 years, Ali probably would have been offered a head coaching job somewhere. He's ready, has been ready. That Drake job is open now. I wouldn't be surprised if they went after Ali for that job. Now it's going to be open, and I'm hoping J.R. Blunt, former CSU assistant, currently assistant at Iowa State, who spent a year with Nico at Drake. I hope they will consider it. So I'm getting all kinds of great comments here, both on X and on the. Here we go. Northern Iowa can't afford to poach him. They can't now, but I don't know what he's going to get paid, but it'll be more than what Ben Jacobson makes at Northern Iowa, who gets paid pretty well for the Missouri Valley Conference. Corey with a question here. Any idea how the offense may differ? I do not think we'll see much difference there. Nico and Ali are locked they're joined at the hip when it comes to running this offense. So, and some of the inbounds plays are very much the concoction of Ali has a great influence on those inbounds plays. So I think we'll see tremendous continuity in how the offense is run. The question is, will we have continuity in terms of a coaching staff and continuity in terms of players? Obviously, having Ali here gives us a greater chance of having a continuity in both. We've already lost Brian Cooley and Joe Deciman to Minnesota, two great players. Joe Deciman, a great Ram. Brian Cooley, a very, 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 very smart coach when it comes to game planning and also working with the bigs. A lot of the big development Brian was responsible for. He came here from Wright State, before that at South Dakota State. A lot of good background. And I had a feeling if Nico left, I had a feeling that that Brian was going to be going. I thought Joe might. Joe is director of player development, does a lot of things behind the scenes, and he'll do really, really well there. Joe's a great Ram, and he'll do really, really well. But here we go. Who will carry the whiteboard? Thoughts on Ali assistant coaches? I've got my fingers crossed. I feel good that we'll be able to keep Ken DeWeese on the staff, who came here after working at Wyoming with Jeff Linder, and before that, Northern Colorado. The reason I feel good about that is because Ken DeWeese's wife and Ali's wife are good friends. And when that happens, coaches stay. Ken is a great coach. He was a great addition to the staff this year. I also hope we can keep Tim Shelton on the staff. Tim came to us 2 seasons ago. And when he came, right before he came, right before he was hired, Nico promised me he was going to hit a home run when he made the hire for that open position. And he brought Tim Shelton in, who had experience at Oregon State, So Pac-12 experience. Before that, several years at Fresno State. Before that, several years as, I believe, a grad assistant at San Diego State. He comes from that San Diego State background, and he is a great asset to the staff. So hopefully we'll be able to keep DeWeese and Shelton. As I said, we've already lost two integral parts on the staff, but I'm hopeful. There will be all kinds of people interested in working for Ali. Believe me, his reputation in this business is tremendous, just like Nico's is. Nico will have no problem building a staff. I only hope we can keep the guys we have and he doesn't take any more. Comment for me, and odds we get Kyan Evans to stay in Fort Collins. I wish I could tell you it was 80%, but I don't think it's any better than 50-50, Ian. I think that Kyan will be in great demand. I wouldn't be surprised if Nico is interested in him. I wouldn't be surprised if other schools. Kyan is from Missouri. I wouldn't be surprised if teams in the Big 12 are interested in Kyan as well. You saw what he's capable of doing and how fast his development was once he started getting comfortable and confident in his role in this offense. I honestly believe that he is set up wherever he goes. If he went with Nico or Ali, I believe he would be set up to develop even further. I talked about this. I think I talked about this Sunday night after we lost on the final score. Nico, and I'm sure Ali will be the same way. 80% of the offense is everybody sharing the ball, but there's always somebody who's the designated guy, where they're going to, in the crunch time, there's going to be that 20% of the time when you need a bucket, you're going to have a guy and you're going to have offense. You're going to have plays, not just sets, but you're going to have set plays for the guy. We saw it with Roddy. It started with his sophomore year, and then his junior year, obviously, Roddy was the man. Isaiah was kind of second fiddle to Roddy. Isaiah was a very important part of the offense, but it was Roddy's offense. When Roddy left, the offense became Isaiah's, and of course, we struggled when he broke his foot. But as he got healthier, he got better. You saw some things where they would run offense with Isaiah off the ball, and then last year we saw the same thing. Isaiah was the leading scorer. A lot of inbounds plays, baseline out of bounds plays were run for Roddy back in the day, and then Isaiah the last 2 years. And this year it was Neek Clifford. Neek was identified as the one. Neek really built his game up this year. He was challenged to do that, and he accepted that challenge, became not just a leader, but he really expanded his game, and he became the guy. So I would guess that Kyan would be the guy for next year's team. Here we go. Corey saying, mistake if Evans left. Nothing against Evans, but I think he's in the perfect spot. That's for him. That's for him to decide. If you look at, Roddy, Roddy would have come back if he didn't decide to go in the draft and didn't have a comfortable feeling that he was going to be drafted in the first round or early in the second. Roddy was not going into the portal. Roddy was going to come back to CSU. And why? He says his answer was, why would I want to change? I already am comfortable. I know what I'm getting out of this coaching staff. And I know how much they care about me and how much I will develop. The same was true for Isaiah Stevens. Isaiah Stevens tested the NBA waters after his fourth year and decided to come back. And I asked him, and he said, why would I bother changing? I have everything I need here. It's a comfortable situation. Why go into the unknown when I'm happy in the known? And he was very, very happy. So, that's up to Kyan to decide. He could end up in a similar situation with Nico, I think, but I don't know. We just don't know. We know Ali will do it. I think the joy right now, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. No one's in the portal yet. And the fact is, I think we expect some people in the portal. but I'm hoping we don't. I hope we keep the core of players. I've been talking about this the whole year. We saw what Kian did. We saw what Jalen Crocker Johnson did this year. We saw Rashawn Mabent, what Rashawn did. Um, we have 3 sophomore starters. Lee with a comment here. JCJ will be coveted. Yeah, all of them will. Mbemba will be coveted. You want an offense with a rugged 4-5 kind of player, um, like Rashawn, who sets screens, who finishes at the rim, who takes up space and defends in the paint. Guys like that don't grow on trees, and we saw what they're capable of doing against Maryland. Maryland's a top 10 team, gang, and we saw how well we defended in the paint against very, very talented big men, Julian Reese and the other kid. What's his name? The kid that made that shot, who shall go unnamed for the rest of my life. Um, uh, Rashawn is going. Jalen Crocker Johnson made tremendous leaps this year, and you saw a guy that can play multiple positions. He came here as a kind of a perimeter 5 out of Little Rock, and developed skills to play both the 5 and the 4, and he was really, really good. If you watched my show this morning with Jalen Lake, he talked about Croc and said Croc never played a better game than the game he played against Maryland. He was a rebounding fool. We out rebounded a great Maryland team by 10, and Croc was our leading rebounder. He was tremendous. And so we want to keep all 3 of those sophomore starters. And yeah, people are coming after them, but we'll see. We'll see if they decide that. We'll see if CSU can come up with a reasonable chunk of money, and I'm hearing there'll be a reasonable amount. Everybody talks about the $3 million in money we get from Minnesota for taking Nico off our hands. But I heard before that there was a pretty good chunk of money based on the House settlement, and so CSU was going to be competitive in NIL to begin with. We should be very competitive with those guys. And then obviously we have a couple others. Kyle Jorgensen played this year. Nikola Joppa, another big man. We have 4 baby bulls. And we talked to Kyle a couple of weeks ago. Kyle is excited about getting stronger, but he's also excited about learning the power forward position, not just being a 5, but being a 4. Nikola is obviously excited to develop as a 5, and you saw what he was capable of doing. He did a great job down the stretch. Really helped against Memphis. Really helped against Maryland. Was a force, and these guys will only get better. So we've got that core, and then I've talked about these the redshirt freshmen and how good I think they're going to be. I've watched them in practice. We have a guard in Darnez Slater. We have a wing in John McConan. And a 3-4 in Jaden Stepp, and every one of these guys is either a player of the year in high school or an all conference in a tough whether it's Southern California with Slater, McConan, tough conference in Minnesota, and these guys are. Will they hit the ground running? No, because they need experience, just like this year's team needed experience. But there's a lot of athletic ability that was redshirted this year. Slater would have played. McConan was probably going to sit always because he was going to be behind Neek Clifford, and Neek was going to play 35 to 38 minutes. McConan really wasn't going to get any time. Stepp, you saw, get a few minutes. Came in against, was it Wyoming, scored 5 points against Wyoming. And if you watch him, the kid can play. So, and then I haven't even mentioned Keyshawn Williams. Keyshawn Williams came here. He's basically missed 2 years with a knee injury, was tearing it up at Northern Illinois, 18 points a game, accepted his role this year and learned how to play defense. Was never what you would categorize as a great defender, but he really, really improved and really, really worked hard. And believe me, he can score. And he'll be if he stays, he could go. He's got 1 more year left, and he could stay or he could leave, depending on what he wants to do. But he could be another one that can give you the scoring, whether he's going to start or come off the bench. He will be a important part of the scoring next year. And then I haven't even mentioned the two freshmen that are coming in. Dr. Tedeschi, a 6'8" forward from Illinois, small school player, will need to get stronger, but very, very skilled. Ali found him. Ali recruited him. And then JoJo McIver, a guard, 6'2", 175 pound, all state level player. Team lost in the state championship the last 2 years at the 5A level. The one thing Ali said about him, this kid is not just a super future point guard. He's got 6'9" wingspan at 6'2". He's a great defender. He has a lot of length. Maybe he'll be our Lamont Butler. So we're gonna see. We hopefully can keep these guys together. You know, the portal is an interesting place, and there's a lot of money around. And when you read that a team like Minnesota has $5 or $6 million, I don't think CSU has that much. How much can they offer to guys? How much could Nico offer? I don't know if he will. Nico's busy trying to line up the current Minnesota guys, and he's announced 2 players that are staying that are part of the Minnesota team. Will he come after CSU players? I don't know. More power to him if he does, and they'll have a decision to make. I hope they stay. We love having them. Here we go. Jake, good to have you. By the way, speaking of the portal, I don't know if you guys have been out there. I have a great show planned on Swallowpalooza. I have my Thursday stuff up today, all ready for tomorrow night's show. I have Brandon Goebel coming on. I don't know if any of you guys know Brandon. Brandon's a CSU guy, CSU season ticket holder, CSU grad, but he's gone out and made a name for himself, and he is probably, when it comes, here we go, Corey, verbal commits. Brandon, he wears multiple hats, and if there's somebody who knows as much about the portal and what's going on in the portal, it's Brandon Goebel. That's why I wanted to have him this week when the portal's open. Brandon is part owner of verbalcommits.com, where everything gets announced, and we'll talk about how crazy it is. His vision of what that's for that site. It started as just kind of announcements. Now they're really doing a great job trying to help people and link coaches to players with video and all different kinds of things. And he's a genius when it comes to delivering services to the right audience. Brandon also has been in a role and his Twitter handle, his X handle, is JUCO Advocate. He has been a leader in getting JUCO players placed at the Division I, Division II level, and so he's very linked into that. And you know, the JUCO scene is going to get more and more interesting. Number one, it's unclear whether they're using eligibility when they go to junior college. But the second part of that is players, if they don't get great offers and want to play, they can go play JUCO for a year and then establish a name for themselves, get lots of experience playing against better players, work their way up, and walk into a Division I program and walk into NIL rather than sitting on the bench. And I had a discussion with one of the CSU parents this week. Let me have a drink. I'm sorry. With one of the CSU parents about a player who's a really, really good player who played high school ball with one of CSU's current players. And he's same age as our player, sophomore. And he's barely played. He went to a higher school and he's barely played. And so his career is not developing. He could have gone into the portal after his freshman year and decided to stay, and then barely saw any minutes as a sophomore. And so here he is. He's going to probably go into the portal. He hasn't gone yet, but he will probably go into the portal. But is he ready to even play anywhere? Because he really hasn't played. He's practiced for 2 years. And it's important that people play. You know, somebody like Kyan, even though he didn't play a lot as a freshman, he got minutes and he played, you know, he got 15 against Creighton. He got to see what it's like as at playing big boy basketball, and he get 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there in the Mountain West, and it gave him a sniff of what it's like. Rashawn was the same thing, and so it's going to be important for the younger players. They got to figure out a way to get into the lineup, work hard, and to play. You do not want to sit for 2 years. So here we go, Corey, with this Maryland coach press conference linked to Villanova job and avoids the question. He's going. There's no doubt he's going. You got a guy coaching Maryland who's already got another job lined up at. He's been bitching and moaning about the support he gets at Maryland, and he's going to go to Villanova. I don't know what kind of, if he gets more, he'll get more support at Villanova, but there's no doubt because Villanova hasn't announced somebody. I think they talked to Pitino Jr. I think they've talked to all kinds of other people, and there is no doubt in my mind that he's going there. I talked a little bit with, I got a little insight last night. If you saw our good friend, former CSU assistant Aaron Katsuma, who went to New Mexico 2 years ago, is going to be joining Richard Pitino Jr. at Xavier. He was asked to join him. When I heard about Pitino Jr. last night, the first thing I did was fire a message to Aaron saying, "Are you headed to Xavier? Are you heading to Cincinnati?" And he said he'd been asked to, and so I'm excited for him that he's going. But I said, I'm disappointed. I wanted Pitino Jr. at Villanova and you to join him in Villanova because that's where I grew up. I was born in a hospital 3 miles from that campus, and Villanova was always my team. And then if they got Donovan Dent to join him at Villanova, I was going to be so excited for Donovan Dent because if you've listened to me, my dream when I was a 10-year-old kid was to be a point guard for Villanova. So I would have been all over Donovan Dent as a point guard for Villanova. He would have been my god. I would have loved it. Other than Kyan at CSU, Donovan Dent would have been my guy. So anyway, but Aaron is going to be going to Xavier, and that's good for him. Ross Hodge announced today as the head coach at West Virginia. Ross was at CSU through 2015 or 16. I can't remember. He was here with Nico. They were assistants together when Eustace came. Ross was one of the first hires of Eustace. Nico stayed. Ross came. Leonard Perry came. Leonard Perry had been a head coach at the University of Idaho. Really good, really respected coach. That was a great staff. Anyway, Ross left CSU. Went to North Texas to work for Grant McCasland at North Texas. And then McCasland went to take the head coach job at Texas Tech 2 years ago. Ross took over at University of North Texas, UNT, the Mean Green. And he's proceeded to win like 50 games in 2 years on a budget, an NIL budget that is peanuts. Ross is a great coach. So he took the West Virginia job today, and I haven't heard from my buddy Jace Hurl. Jace has been an assistant at UNT. I don't know if they're going to ask Jace to stay at UNT, or I don't know if he's going to go with Ross. I hope things work out for Jace. He was a great kid, and the like. Lee with this comment: Palestra still the best venue in the game. I was going to talk Ali into getting a game scheduled against Pitino Jr. in the Palestra. And we would have had a party back in Philadelphia. I would have gone back for sure. First college game I ever saw was in the Palestra when I was like 9 or 10 years old. It is a basketball mecca. Some of you may be aware of this, might not be aware of it, but Duke's Cameron Indoor Stadium, the guy that designed it in the 30s, based it on the Palestra, which had been built on the University of Pennsylvania campus. So it's very much like the Palestra. So I digress a little bit. I'm having too much fun with this. I am so pumped for Ali. He has been a great supporter of my show. I've had him on several times. You've learned a lot from him. He is great with the media. He is great with people. He is a family person. He has 4 wonderful children and a wonderful wife, Mallory, who was just the kindest person. If I've told the story probably a million times. I went through my bout with cancer. And as I was getting, coming out of that, the number of times she just checked up on me. How are you, Steve? And she was very, very concerned. And then, the following year, my daughter had a stroke. and Mallory has always asked me about how my daughter's doing. She's very, very into everybody's family and just the kindest person. And that's the way Ali is. They are great people. His parents are great. And I'm looking forward to watching his kids grow up as the children of CSU's head basketball coach. What can we expect? Anything different from Ali coach program? God, that's a good question. And you know what? I'll hope to get Ali on. It'll take a little time. Ali will do the mainstream media first, but I'm sure he'll join me at some point when things settle down. And I'll hit him up with that question. What do you think of this? What do you have that Nico doesn't have, and what did he have that you need to develop? And we'll talk about it. Anyway, I think that's a great question. We'll make sure we do that. Lee with a comment, a seamless transition. We hope so. Ali's ready. I'm not worried about Ali being ready. Some people were saying, well, there's always this thing about an assistant coach becoming a head coach. And I saw something funny, a comment when it was announced, and there was somebody, a Utah State account on X saying, oh, this is the dumbest thing because we did it at Utah State and it's the only coach we had to fire in the last 40 years. It's like, you might want to look at the situation. They hired Tim Duryea, who had been with Stu Morrill forever. And he wasn't the most dynamic guy. He was actually a pretty good recruiter. He was really good at lining up LDS players and getting them out on 2-year missions. But when they went stinky for a couple of years, and they brought in Craig Smith, and Craig Smith took advantage of what Duryea had built in terms of the LDS pipeline, and got some, the Sam Merrills of the world, got Justin Beans of this world. Abel Porter was one of them. There are all kinds of guys that were 6-year players. That was the model that always worked at Utah State. And Craig walked into a great situation, but that to compare Ali Farokhmanesh to Tim Duryea is absolutely silly. Lee thinking it might be more guard oriented. I don't think so. I think Ali was a shooter, but they had some pretty tough power forward types. Very similar, when he was playing, they had very similar kinds of bigs that they could all step out and shoot the three, and that's what our bigs are capable of doing. Next year, I'm hoping our bigs get a little more assertive in terms of shooting threes. Obviously, Kroc wasn't afraid to shoot them and shot 40%, really developed his three. Kyle Jorgensen, a lot more willing when he was open to shoot a three. Rashawn is a very good three-point shooter, and Nikola showed he can shoot them. They just need to get better and get comfortable doing it. So here's Lee talking about Utah State. Keita actually came via Craig Smith, one of his assistants, who's Eric Peterson was the one that found him in Portugal. Eric Peterson went, and I think he's a coach at South Dakota now, or South Dakota State, one of the two. Probably a candidate for the Drake job, to be honest with you. But don't ask me to have Brandon Goebel tell his Neemias Queta stories tomorrow, because he has some interesting stories. We're not going to, I won't share them, and Brandon will not want to share them either, but it has to do with a certain coach and how he might not have been treated as well as he could have been treated. So I'll just leave it at that. Aaron just got on. Here we go. Aaron was one of the people kind enough to supply me a ticket to the games in Seattle over the weekend, and we had a great time. We lost, but you know what? We played two of the best games I've ever seen CSU play in a tournament setting. And I talked with Jalen Lake. I hope you guys will take a look at the show I did with Lake this morning and with Brady. We talked about that game. Anybody who doesn't think that's the best game that CSU played this year is crazy. And Jalen said, yeah, we should have won. We outplayed them. They felt very, very good about how they played. They just happened to be a point behind. One more make for us and one less make for them, and we'd be playing tomorrow night. And we'd be happy people in San Francisco going up against Florida. And Ralph Willard could have already moved from Maryland to Villanova. Anyway. It's a great day. need to wear the bucket hat for emergency. Joe, it's somewhere. I don't know where it is. I've worn it before. The problem is my headphones don't fit on it very well, and they don't go under it very well either. So I'll wear it one of these times. The bucket hat is a little bit of a trademark. We had some fun with the grumpy old man look, and here we go, Jay. Jared, can you comment on your personal feelings after not getting the job? Jared, the best man won. I got a fair shot. I started. If you saw my stuff on social media, I helped them meet the grumpy old man quota part of the hiring process. I started working the system with Amy Parsons last weekend, and athletic director John Weber. I worked it hard. But in the end, I don't know what it was. I'll have to follow up with them. But I think the best man won. I think the best man is in place. And to be honest with you, and I'm not saying this for any reason other than I believe it. I don't think there's a better candidate in the country. There's. I'm serious. Ali Farokhna. I believe, and I put this on X. If you watch, the movie Miracle, one of my favorite movies, one of the great sports movies. There's a point Herb Brooks is in the locker room and he turns to everybody. He's making his pregame speech and he turns to everybody and says, "You were born to be hockey players." And I honestly believe that Ali Farokhmanesh was born to be the CSU head coach. Everything about him, everything about his values, everything about his intelligence, everything about his basketball knowledge, his people skills, his ability to relate to people young and old, whether he's recruiting young people, whether he's talking with families of parents of players, whether he's talking with boosters. Everything about it is a fit into the CSU community that I've grown to love. That's the joy that this CSU community. It's a very people-oriented community. We know a lot of people. We are friendly with each other, and it's he's the fit. He's the one. My son said something funny about a week ago. He said, Gonzaga started getting pretty good under Dan Monson. And Dan Monson went to Minnesota and they replaced him with a guy named Mark Few in the late 90s. Maybe Ali is our Mark Few. I don't want to put that pressure on Ali because if he turned into our Mark Few, we would be rolling, folks. We'd be rolling so well that Swole wouldn't be able to afford season tickets anymore because the price of those would be jacked up so high if we're winning 25 or 30 games and going to Sweet 16s every year. That's Buckola's. So here we go. Term sheet, 5-year deal, $800,000 with raises of $50,000 every year. That'll be ripped up after 2 years, and he'll get more than that. But that's a pretty good start. I don't know what he was making. It's half of what Nico was making. There's room for growth. There's got to be room for assistants' salaries to be increased. There's got to be money to put into NIL to build the program and all those other things. So, that's interesting. I would have thought it would have been a little more, but that's okay. I noticed that UNLV hired a coach, Josh Pastner, and he's a very experienced coach, coached at Memphis and Georgia Tech, won an ACC championship at Georgia Tech 3 years ago. UNLV's paying him $500,000 his first year. They probably can afford to do that. He's probably still getting paid by Georgia Tech. So he averages about $1 million over 5 years, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that increase. He will earn every penny of it and then some, and $800,000 is nothing to sneeze at. Nico's on his way to $3 million. Ross Hodge is on his way to $3 million a year. Pretty good gig if you can get it. Boy, did they earn it. So anyway, what else? Anybody else got any questions, any comments? Who's out there? Let me know. Here we go. He has a pool of 1.2 million for assistant coach and support. That's really good. 1.2 million. So that means you can have three assistants and a director of, director, maybe I wonder if they have a GM and then a director of player development. And every one of them can be paid $250,000 roughly or more. So some more, some a little less. That's pretty good. So hopefully you'll see Deweese and Shelton stick around. Could I see Ali staying in Fort Collins forever? That is a great question. Fort Collins has grown on me. If you had asked me, will you stay in Fort Collins forever when I moved here, I would have said maybe. I moved here right at the end of 1984. I moved into my house on December 31st, 1984. So basically the beginning of 85, I've been here for 40 years, more than half my life. And I've never lived in a place any longer. Will we move? Maybe someday when I'm like 1,000,000 years old and can't lift a snow shovel. My wife just said probably not. But we love it here. And so, this place grows on you. The people are wonderful. And the community is wonderful. And CSU is wonderful as well. So, so here we are. Corey, we can only hope that Ali moves on someday. Well, there's some truth to that because it does mean success, like you said. But the other part of that is, his coach at Northern Iowa, Ben Jacobson, has stayed there and he's very, very successful. He's always finishes in the top few in the Missouri Valley Conference, regularly goes to postseason tournaments, wins 20 games a season, runs a great program, puts out great players, and I could see him doing something like that. I don't know. Ken Deweese staying. As I mentioned earlier, Lee, I think there's a good chance Deweese will stay. I think Ali will want him here. Ken's wife and Ali's wife, Mallory, get along they're friendly. I went to a game in Laramie a couple of years ago, and I went down to the court and I was started talking to Mallory, and she said, just a second, and I have to go talk to Ken Deweese's wife. She's a really good friend of mine. That's when he was up in Laramie. So they've gotten to know each other. They get along very, very well, I would guess, and I would hope Ken Deweese stays. That was a great hire. That helped cement this. That really helped cement this staff. I hope he stays. And like I said, I hope Tim Shelton stays. I love Tim. He has added so much. Tim likes Fort Collins a lot, but Tim is going to be an up-and-comer. Deweese, I haven't talked to about head coaching goals. I've talked a little bit with Tim on the side. There's a time and a place for Tim to be a head coach. He knows he's not ready yet, but he's working toward that. And he's got some thoughts and some ideas. And when the right opportunity comes along and when he feels like he's ready, Tim Shelton will be a very, very good head coach. So I hope he stays, though. We can use somebody of his background, his ability, his comfort level coaching with bigs, his comfort level coaching with defense, obviously with the San Diego State and Fresno State background with Justin Hudson is second to none, to be honest with you. He's really, really good. Aaron asking this question. I don't know. Dorian on the staff? I don't know. One of the things, Ali, he knows Dorian. They know him because Dorian was in Nebraska, I think, a little bit with Tim, and Ali was there. I don't know if they were there together. Will Dorian come over? I don't know. Ali's challenge, his biggest challenge, Ali loves recruiting, but when you're a head coach, you can't be always the lead recruiter. And so he's got to find somebody that know how to recruit territories. Deweese is good in Texas. Tim Shelton's good on the West Coast. We're going to need somebody in Colorado. Ali's pretty good, well known in Colorado. Maybe Dorian's good in Colorado. We'll need somebody in the Midwest. I know Dorian's been pretty good in Kansas, where we've recruited players. Kansas, Missouri. Obviously, Kyan Evans is from Kansas City. Dorian was from Lawrence, Kansas. So we'll see. We'll see. But it's a possibility. Do I think the portal will help with do you think the buyout will help with the NIL? I think there'll be some of that. I hope they don't. I hope they spread it out in an intelligent way. We got to. we don't just have to build a team for next year. And so, yes, we're building, you got this mentality of 1 year teams that you really can't build for 4 years. But in the back of your mind, you have got to be thinking that you're moving to the Pac-12 in 2 years, and you've got to be ready to really compete with NIL and the like, and ready to really bang hard in the second year. So this year is important, but the next year will be as well, because remember who we're going into the league with. There's a school in Spokane that starts with a G that is an absolute powerhouse, Gonzaga, and they have money. And so we've got to be able to compete with those guys, and you don't want to blow all the money this year. You want to make sure you spread it out. You want to make sure you build this program and build things in over time, not going for the and you don't want to provide too many tournament credits to the Mountain West that you're going to walk away from. You want to do your tournament credits when you move to the Pac-12, because it's my understanding the tournament credits that we are earning for the Mountain West stay with the Mountain West after we leave next year. So, comment from Lee: Smiley might be moving on. Green could be in line for you. I don't know. That's an interesting one. I saw, interestingly enough, Smiley will be in demand. There's no doubt about it. He's done really, really well. He's a good coach. And we'll see what happens with him. I saw, believe it or not, some guy post a list of names at New Mexico, and his name as kind of a dark horse type for New Mexico. Is he a big enough name for those guys in New Mexico? Probably not. That's a different kind of animal down there. But I wouldn't be surprised if Drake, I'd be surprised if Drake doesn't talk to him. He'd be a good candidate there. Obviously, I'm pushing for J.R. Blunt. I'd love to see J.R. get a head coaching job. Can you imagine J.R. gets a head coaching job, Ali gets a head coaching job, Nico and Ross Hodge move into P4 jobs? This is an unbelievable year for those of us who have been close to the CSU program for the last 10 or 15 years. This is a year for our coaches watching them take the next step, and they've earned every right. Swole needs to be the first impression manager. No, I'm just here to bring positivity, Corey. I love this program, and I love it because of the way I've been treated. Even with Dale Layer, I got to know Dale very, very well, and Dale was very nice to me, very good to me. And then Tim Miles was unbelievable. He really was. Then, as I say, we went through the dark years with a coach that shall no longer be named. He was smart enough to have assistants like Nico Medved and Ross Hodge in 2013 with a great NCAA round of 32 team. But his time finally ran out, and we were blessed that we got Nico Medved, and Nico has always been 100% first class with me. And Ali has too, and I expect it will continue. What's Larry doing these days? Well, he was in Boise last year. I haven't seen him this year. Man Bun Larry was in Boise. He moved up to the Boise area and was he is a volunteer assistant with Leon Rice's team last year. So who knows? Surfing. That's funny. I'm sorry. The thought of seeing him surf. I got a funny story to tell. I don't know if I've ever told this one, but there's a woman that we walk dogs, and my neighborhood is full of great dogs, and we walk all over the place. We know all the dogs. And there's a woman who used to live in the same condo complex with Larry Eustace, and she had a dog, and she was getting all kinds of hassles from neighbors that live in there. So, just really, really mad at her with her dog. And one night she got a knock on her door, and she opened it, and there was Larry Eustace standing at the door in his T-shirt and boxer shorts, saying, I think your dog's just fine. And that was the conversation they had. That was her contact with with Larry. And she said it was kind of weird, but she said he was actually a very nice neighbor. So I just thought that was a pretty funny story to show up at somebody's door in boxer shorts and a t-shirt. So, John, I already went over my interview. I thought it went really, really well. And when I started talking about my overhead press being insane, that's when John Weber's eyes. That's when he raised an eyebrow. He goes, "Holy moly, I got to really think about this." But in the end, I think he chose the right person. We had some fun with that on X yesterday, didn't we? I'm going to roll. I've stayed on. This has been too much fun. Gang, this is great. Thank you for joining me. Celebrate in any way you can. Put notes out on social media. Read Kevin Lytle's stuff. Read Justin's stuff. Listen to Brady tomorrow. He wouldn't be surprised if he had Ali on tomorrow. The press conference, I believe, was announced for 11 o'clock in Moby on Friday. Be there if you can to welcome the Farokhmanesh family. They are the new first family of Fort Collins. So thanks, everybody, for joining me. John here, you're a good sport. Thanks for hosting. Thank you for being part of the community, John. This is a tremendous community we're building. We're going to have we just had a great season. We're going to have a great summer. We're going to have even more fun next year, growing this community, supporting Ram basketball, and celebrating the successes that are coming under our new head coach, Ali Farokhmanesh. So with that in mind, I'm going to say good night. Join me tomorrow night on Swallowpalooza Thursday with Brandon Goebel. Have a great evening, everybody.